So what we're going to cover in this video is this number section up here on the Home tab in the main ribbon of Excel. Really what this is going to let us do is change the formatting of the specific numbers. So if I want to use dollars or percentage or decimals or whatever it is, this is a really quick way to do that so you don't actually have to manually change it yourself, especially if you have really long columns of a lot of data, you have a lot of employees or whatever you're doing payroll. This is a really good way to format it in a way that's appropriate for your business or whatever you're doing it for. So you see here we have our employees and then we have our hourly pay. Now we just have basic numbers and I'm not okay with that, so I want to change it and actually see dollar signs. I want to see their dollar amount, because what if they're making $12.32 an hour, so something like that. Well, I can go ahead here and select all of these cells, any group of cells that I want, or just an individual cell. I can go to this numbers section. I'm just going to go ahead and hit this dollar sign here, and that's going to put it in accounting format. So now we have a nice dollar sign here letting them know what they're being paid in, and then it adds the decimals there. So if I wanted them to be paid $12.32 an hour, then I just go in here and type 12.32. Just a real quick way to do that. Now I'm going to go ahead and change this back to 12. Let's say instead we said, I don't know, they're, I'm just going to say pay percentage, and I wanted to see a percent. They have some percentage of total payroll, whatever it is. Now I can go here and just select this percent button. Now you might be wondering, well, how is $12 equal to 12,000%? You got to remember that it's got to be in terms of decimals, because that's really what a percent is, and that's how Excel is calculating it. So if I wanted this to show up as 12% instead of 12,000%, well, then I got to do 0.12, and that's going to equal 12%, because 1 in decimal terms is 100%. That's why we get kind of these crazy numbers here. Oops, change that back to 13, 14, and 15. Okay. Now another thing that we can do, I'm gonna move this back. Let's say salary per year. I'm gonna go ahead and just this. And the next option that we have here is, I just call it the comma option. I don't know exactly what they call it, comma style. And it's going to add commas like you want to see in really big numbers. So let's say, this is CEO or something, and we're going to pay him tons and, $120,000 a year. But well, what if it's more than that? What if we want to add even more zeros to the end of this? Then I can see, every 3 zeros, it's going to automatically add that comma in there. And that way, your mind can actually process how much that is instead of just seeing a big number like this. So that's something really useful. And you can see it adjusted these other ones as well. Now, another thing that we can do is, let's say I have a really crazy number that has lots of, maybe it's pi or something, and there's lots of decimals that go on here. I can use these arrows to extend how many decimals I want to see. If this was salary per year, we probably don't want to see any decimals, so I'd move them there. But let's say I want to see lots and lots of decimals. Well, I can move that, and that's going to move it, here's tens, hundreds, thousands, and it's just going to keep going on and on and on. And, depending on how exact your data needs to be, that might be important to see. It's pretty ridiculous that far out, but you can see we can just easily add this, and normally it's probably like we just want to see the first 2 or 3 decimal places. So really useful tools there. And what we have up here is basically the same options. We can see it in currency, or we can do it in accounting. Now, another thing that we can do is time and date. We can do fractions in here. We can do scientific notation. Just a bunch of different options. Just allows us to do more than just put a plain old number in there. One last thing that may be applicable to you. There's actually different symbols in here. If you want to do euros, you can do that instead of using dollar symbols. It defaults to dollars in at least the version I have. But again, just lots of different options in here. It's good just to go in here and mess around with these different things. I'm just gonna let's do it in a different cell. I do 1200, and I'm gonna go ahead and time, and then it's going to automatically adjust that to 12 o'clock a.m. Pretty much all we do is, we put that, put a number in there, and then we select the format that we want it to show up as. If this is a date or a percentage, and we click that, and it's going to go ahead and do it for us, which is really nice. Again, I could do 0.5, and if I want that to show up instead of as a decimal, I could do it as a fraction. It's going to show up as 1/2. And the really neat thing about this is, though it shows up to us as users, it's going to show up as 1/2, or we're going to have this euro symbol in here. The actual data, what Excel is going to use to calculate, is in its pure form, because Excel can really only work in numbers itself. So, if I add 0.5 and I have, try to add this to, another, maybe over here, it's not going to try to, include this euro symbol somehow in that calculation. It's just going to use these raw numbers, 1200. There's 0.5 in here. It doesn't really make sense with the time. So that's the only one that doesn't actually do that, because, you can't add time to numbers. But in any of these calculations, we don't have to worry. Say there's people that are being paid in euros and people in American dollars, things like that. It doesn't matter that they're in there, because Excel's still seeing it as a pure number in here. So that's just an important thing to remember, is that you're really not messing up the formulas that you're going to be building by using this. It's just going to make it look better. It's just like formatting. If I change the background color of a cell, it doesn't affect the actual data, the raw data that's in that cell.